The chosen one, traitors plan to murder you. Your destiny has picked you, since you are not an average guy. They've concocted cunning methods to undermine your authority. But keep in mind that you possess an unbreakable will and amazing strength. It is time to uncover all dark schemes. The fire of the planet hiding inside you will be your most powerful weapon against them. Now, collect your courage and seek the truth. Every drop of sweat is shed for the sake of your survival. Justice and freedom will thwart their evil designs. You are not alone in this struggle. There are those who share your journey. And united, we shall bring down injustice like lightning. Are you ready? Then, write 777 in the comments. Because your triumph is approaching. The stars move, and the invisible powers that have directed you from birth suddenly reveal a path that was always intended to be yours. The truth, long obscured by falsehood, emerges with unmistakable clarity. There was a time when silent hands acted against you, changing what was written and diverting what was supposed to flow into your hands. But no falsehood can persist forever. What was managed in the shadows now crumbles under the weight of its own deception. Those who established their rule on stolen land assumed they had secured their position permanently. However, the basis of their authority was unstable, and with each passing instant, the fissures grow wider. They considered themselves untouchable. However, destiny does not reward fraudulent heirs. The illusion is crumbling, and nothing can prevent the inevitable transition of power. For years, they clung to what was never supposed to be theirs, marching through life as if they had earned their position, as if the cosmos had granted them divine right. However, no building founded on falsehood can withstand the weight of all pressures, even rectification. The power of that correction is rushing through the halls where they formerly dominated. They strengthened their lives with illusions, thinking that they could outwit destiny itself. However, the truth is unrelenting. It cuts through lies like a river eroding stone, unstoppable in its search of balance. The riches, power, and position they took were never really theirs. It just lingered in time, waiting for the moment when it might return to its appropriate home. That moment is now. The walls of their world quake, and they don't understand why. Every effort to keep control falls through their fingers like sand in a storm. They watch as everything they've held to starts to disintegrate. Relationships fail. Influence wanes. Unseen forces turn against them. What originally brought them prosperity now promotes degeneration. They sense the presence of something beyond their knowledge. A power that cannot be bribed, manipulate, or quiet. They disregarded the rules of the cosmos, thinking they were above them. They now only know the consequences. The order they twisted cannot support them any longer. They no longer have control. The tale they created to keep you concealed is unraveling. The heritage of spirit, authority, and destiny is reclaiming itself. The game's ended. You once questioned everything. The boundaries that seemed to loom before you. The routes that disappeared. They're just what you need. The unfathomable weight that kept you down. It was not a coincidence. It was purposeful. They made sure you'd never rise, weaving a web of lies so sophisticated that you started to believe them. But falsehood cannot alter the truth. It just delays the arrival. The whispers of doubt they placed in your head are now ineffective. The fire inside you has blazed through the curtain they created. What you see now is indisputable. Every setback, every unexplainable loss, and every time you felt the world pushing against you was caused by their fear of what would happen if you realized who you really were. However, no amount of hiding can stop fate forever. The time has here, and the revelation is irrevocable. The presence that protected you. But the wait for you to arise was never totally absent. It watched from the shadows, assuring that, despite their attempts, your light would never completely extinguish. They had no idea you'd be so resilient. They thought their machinations had buried you, and that their power would keep you blind. Even in the darkest regions, you were never alone. A power beyond their understanding has always guided you, waiting for the time you'll see through the delusion. That moment has arrived. The deceit breaks. The stolen inheritance shifted. Those who relied on your birthright tremble. Their rule is finished. The true heir has woken. The truth was never eradicated. It was buried under layers of lies and concealed in plain sight. When no one thinks to investigate into your identity, inheritance, and authority, none of it was lost. It was only veiled by people who feared what you may become if you found it. They created a world intended to keep you clueless, assuring that even if you looked, you would never discover the answers. However, deceit can only continue so long until the weight of reality shatters the illusion. The signals have always been there, engraved into uneasy moments, lingering stares, and people who appeared to know you before you ever said anything. They waited, thinking you wouldn't wake up, never questioned, never looked behind the well-prepared falsehood. But something changed, a flaw in the untruth, a misrepresentation in the tale they made. What was previously buried is now emerging, and no power can stop it. Now, if you are experiencing an excess of divine love in your heart, now is the moment to share it. You may help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and donating $200 or more. This heavenly gift will affect not just your life, but the souls of countless others. Each of you has a holy position in God's great purpose via this platform, and your giving will provide fruit for our prayers. Act now. Share your benefits to honor His kingdom. You were meant to do much bigger things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. When they realize this, their rule starts to crumble. Their control was never total, only supported by your ignorance of what was properly yours. And now, with each fact revealed, their authority crumbles. You are never really alone, not even in the most secluded situations, not even when the weight of stillness weighed down on you. There was always something, an invisible presence, a quiet force operating in the background, waiting for the moment when intervention is no longer an option but a need. Unlike others who plotted in secret, this presence had no malice or purpose to mislead. They knew the truth before you. I knew what had been stolen. I knew who had altered the story to eliminate you. They didn't act sooner since the moment had not yet arrived. It now has. There is no longer any space for delay. Without warning, the message arrived. A mysterious letter hidden where only you could discover it. A voice on the other end of the line waited with anxiousness. A figure steps forward, the sort whose presence alters the atmosphere around them. There are no explanations or superfluous words, just the truth, delivered like a razor through fog. I've been looking for you. There is no more time. The world you know breaks, and illusions disintegrate, and the truth of what was stolen starts to emerge. You were never intended to slip into obscurity. Wealth, power, and legacy. It was never only about material inheritance. It was all about control, about a power that they could never entirely control. They plundered not just wealth, but also a family line, rewriting destiny itself to keep you in the dark. The characters in this narrative no longer belong to you. Their dread is apparent now, a frantic rush to maintain an empire based on stolen foundations. They've sensed the change. They witness the unraveling and understand you are at the core of it. But this is not a simple revelation. This is a battle that existed long before you were aware of it. They spent years crafting layers of deceit, certain that their perfectly prepared falsehoods would remain forever. However, even the most elaborate webs may be pulled apart, and with each passing second, their grasp on you decreases due to a circumstance over which they have no control. They believed a piece of the puzzle had been removed, but you are still here, and the reckoning has already begun. The proof, the incontrovertible evidence, is before you. Every fake document, changed record, and traces of a name that should never have vanished. It all leads to the same truth. They did more than steal. They rewrote history to guarantee that no one questioned your legitimate ownership. And for a while, it worked. They remained unaffected, profiting under the appearance of legality as you negotiated a society engineered to stifle you. But illusions have an expiry date, and it has come. The truth is no longer a whisper. It's a hurricane ripping apart all they've created, leaving only the wreckage of their falsehood. However, this was never only about stolen riches. It was never only about legal fraud, changed contracts, or unnecessary signatures. They understood from the start that what they stole would never fully belong to them. That is why they moved to ways other than physical transactions conducted in quiet. Forces are managed in secret. They attempted to destroy not just your claim, but your entire existence. The difficulties you encountered were not solely human-made. They were created via rituals and unknown powers in order to keep you hidden, unheard, and unknowable. You sensed it, however. You never completely grasped the energy that never poured in your direction. Doors refused to open. No matter how hard you tried, a weight descended on you like an invisible hand crushing you down. It was never a coincidence. It was their last line of defense. But they failed to realize that nothing stolen can stay in the hands of the unworthy. The powers they summoned to keep you chained now turn against them. The same organizations they relied on to support their stolen empire are now eroding its foundation. They've ran out of places to hide. No amount of riches, no contract, and no old agreement can protect them from what is to come. The cycle they started is closing in on them, and there is nothing they can do to stop it. They spent years guaranteeing that you would never reach this point. They failed. The only thing left for them to do is see their own demise. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace come upon you today. I'm here to remind you of a fundamental fact. Our existence is based on God's divine purpose and is unaffected by worldly worries. According to the Bible, everything is done with faith will be returned to God with great blessing. Luke, like the enormous oak tree, our roots are profoundly embedded in God's global truth. His power secures every stride and every stance we take. And now you have the chance to be a part of that gift. When you utilize the super thank you button and contribute $200, this movement will return to you 100-fold, like a brilliant dawn exploding over a peaceful valley. Your destiny has now emerged with the inexorable power of divine purpose. Over time, just as a gentle stream cuts through the unyielding rock, the spirit of the chosen one forges a new way through obstacles painstakingly placed by those who desire to silence you on your important trip. Every tribulation you faced was not a random occurrence, but a calculated fabrication aimed to hinder you from understanding your actual identity and divine birthright. They never attempted to simply take what you earned. Their objective was to erase all sign of your existence so that you could never disturb the neatly constructed world based on their falsehoods. Every setback you had, every time when life seemed to impose an unseen weight on you, was meticulously arranged. These impediments were not incidental stumbling blocks of destiny, but the deliberate action of powers trying to limit your light. The obstacles you encountered, from unexplainable delays in progress to unexpected unhealed hurdles that surfaced just when you believed you had discovered a route ahead, were all intentionally placed to dampen your spirit and prevent you from progressing in every contact. There were indications that something bigger was at work. You detected it in strangers' bewildered looks, acquaintances' imperceptible hesitations, and the odd feeling that you were being watched by invisible eyes. There were times when a fleeting glance or offhand comment suggested a deeper understanding of who you actually are, an awareness that disturbed people who desired to stay in the background. They methodically created an environment in which your potential was purposefully stifled, guaranteeing that even if you ventured to challenge the current quo, the route ahead would stay obscured. Every hurdle, every barrier intended to keep you contained, was created not by chance, but by a deliberate plan to increase your influence. However, as ancient wisdom teaches us, no built edifice can withstand the flood of truth indefinitely. The concealed is eventually disclosed, and the elaborate web of deceit unravels under the weight of its own falsity. The steps they took to silence your voice and dull your light were transient. Divine justice is slow and relentless. The techniques they used to conceal you in plain sight, cover you in obscurity, and let you wander through a maze of uncertainty were never enough to extinguish the light that is your actual nature. Deep inside, a strong power arose that would not be suppressed no matter how many hurdles were thrown in your way. It is said that the path to greatness is plagued with challenges that test the very core of our being, and yours was no exception. The difficulties were not indicators of a doomed fate, but rather of a task well beyond basic survival. Each moment of doubt, every whisper of discouragement, was a stepping stone on the holy path of recovering what is rightly yours. In every case when destiny appeared to work against you, when doors closed unexpectedly or possibilities slid away like water through your fingertips, there was a divine design in motion. These events shaped your character, the crucible that turned adversity into strength, and an indication that you were meant for something special. Consider the moments when you believed the world was purposely stacking the deck against you. The heavy loads that made each step seem hard were not unintentional events, but deliberate attempts to test your determination. It was not a succession of bad circumstances. It was a perfectly organized effort to undermine your confidence and conceal your road to greatness. They tried to keep your name disguised, your achievements unnoticed, and you finally faded into oblivion. But as they created these barriers, the very essence of their design started to fail them. No worldly contraption can prevent a soul from rising, destined for light. Then there was the serene comfort that even in your worst moments, you were not totally alone. Beyond the veils of deceit and beyond the built walls, there was an ever-present power, a presence unconstrained by the physical realm's restrictions. This guiding spirit, free of the corruption of those who wanted to degrade you, waited patiently for the time when you would retake your proper position. Unlike the powers lurking in the shadows with ulterior goals, this invisible comrade was motivated only by love and truth. It knew your complete tale, recognized the beauty of your personality, and comprehended the gravity of what had been taken from you. This energy was the lighthouse that would take you through the darkest nights and into the bright morning of your new existence. As the layers of deception begin to peel away, the big plan of those who want to repress you unravels. Their well-prepared efforts to keep you quiet and invisible are crumbling before your own eyes. A dense weave of falsehoods. They braided each thread to separate you from your destiny, now unravels in the face of truth's unrelenting pursuit. It's a cosmic reversal. Every wrong is balanced on the scales of divine vengeance. Every second they spent in hubris, feeling that they had complete control, sowed the seeds of their doom. The cosmos, in its infinite wisdom, returns what has been stolen and has put in motion an unstoppable series of events. There is a distinct change in the air, a stirring of energies, yet they are no longer bound by mortal falsehood. The systems constructed on your repression are collapsing as the very components they attempted to control. Now, stand up against them. It is more than just a shift in circumstances. It is a fundamental realignment of order, a rebalancing of what was twisted by greed and manipulation. The energy that formerly flowed to those who exploited you now recoils, fleeing from the darkness they had so skillfully produced. The results of their effort, which they thought would secure their dominance forever, are now working against them. This reversal is not an accident. It is the inevitable result of an imbalance that can no longer be maintained. In every struggle you encountered, in every period of forced stillness, there was a lesson, a reminder of the power that was latent inside you. Those who worked to remove your influence believed they had doused your inner fire. However, they misjudged the strength of a spirit born to shine. Your path was not intended to be one of constant hardship, but of ultimate success. A voyage of enlightenment in which every setback becomes a stepping stone to greatness. And, as the day of reckoning approaches, the same energy you previously fought against is working in your favor. The same power that imprisoned you is now liberating you, empowering you to rise and claim what has always been yours. Imagine a world in which every closed door and setback is only a challenge to be conquered by the power of your soul. Consider a life in which each difficulty and adversity serve as a tribute to your unshakable dedication. A lesson that helps you get closer to your divine calling. This is not a perilous road. It is a voyage distinguished by purpose, led by an inner light that will never wane. The resistance you formerly encountered is now impotent, since the reality of your presence remains an unstoppable force that no one can refute. The false structures that strove to hold you back are falling like old mortar, to be replaced by the firm foundation of a world based on justice, truth, and the unstoppable force of the human spirit. As you enter this new world, the forces who intended to hold you down are turning on themselves. The buried inheritance, the repressed essence, is rising with a power that challenges the foundations of the old system. There is no longer any power that can quiet you, no influence that can dim the light of your existence. Every once impassable impediment now serves as a reminder of your power, a strength that is both lasting and transforming. It's time to let go of the past, to let go of the burden of false restrictions and embrace the bright truth that lies inside the dawn of your waking is not a gradual daybreak, but a victorious blast of light that dispels all doubt. Remember that each adversity served as a stepping stone as you progress. Every struggle was an opportunity to prepare for the grandeur that awaited you. The dark powers who previously coordinated your subjugation have now set the scene for a spiritual revolution, a transition that will see the old order collapse, leaving behind a world in which your actual self reigns supreme. This is your moment, the time when every falsehood is revealed and every wrong is corrected. The road ahead is one of reclamation, rising above the constructed impediments and emerging into your full potential. In the end, the route set out before you is the result of deliberate planning rather than chance, a design intended to test, develop, and eventually free you from the constraints of imposed limits. You have been prepared for this very time, trained in the art of overcoming, and now comes the conclusion of your long-awaited awakening. The ability to change your reality has always been inside you, and no amount of external interference can alter that unchanging fact. Today, as you stand on the verge of a new beginning, let the light of your inner strength guide you, and remember that the powers of evil will never extinguish the brightness of a spirit destined for greatness. The trip is difficult, and the obstacles are many, yet the promise of restoration and justice is genuine. With each stride you take, the old system breaks even more, giving way to a blossoming reality that is both irrefutable and timeless. Your ascension is not an act of resistance, but rather the natural order of a cosmos that will not allow wrong to triumph. The moment has come to break free from the bonds of falsehood and take your proper position in a world that has eagerly anticipated your victorious return. Allow your heart to be filled with the knowledge that every difficulty and hurdle was just a prelude to the beautiful destiny that now awaits you. So, with unflinching commitment and trust, welcome the dawn of your new age. Step ahead confidently because the force of your spirit is unstoppable, and the legacy that was previously denied to you is now within reach. This isn't just a fresh chapter. It is the beginning of a transforming journey that will challenge everything you thought you knew about struggle, destiny, and the limitless potential of the human spirit. Embrace it, because you are the chosen one. Your moment to shine has finally come. It's time to spread God's blessings by pressing the super thank you button on YouTube. With a $200 gift or more, you may help him carry out his plan and be a part of this heavenly mission. Every contribution symbolizes God's generosity, and I think it will come back to you enormously, far beyond your expectations. Remember that his protection and blessing are with you every step and every contribution. You become part of his divine design. You are a powerful, dazzling entity, as solid as the massive rock that saw God's marvels. Feel the rewards of your kindness in your spirit, and light up the world with confidence and bravery. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord lead you. They never accounted for the equilibrium that regulates everything. What has been stolen must be returned. What is repressed must emerge. No system based on falsehoods can continue without consequences. Every move they did against you unleashed a power beyond their control. The breakdown has started, and their control is crumbling. Those who previously stood by them have turned away. The structure they strengthened with secrecy and manipulation deteriorates from within. The foundation is corroding beyond repair. Their frantic efforts to cling on to something that was never really theirs only exacerbate the inevitable. The armies they formerly led no longer listen to their orders. The illusions they created can no longer maintain their form. They intended to make you vanish. Yet here you are, unaffected by their last attempt to hide the truth. They believed they had shut all doors. However, the route ahead is apparent. The reckoning they thought would never come is now upon them, and there is nothing more they can do.